The Pope has summoned 185 bishops, experts, and chiefs of indigenous communities to Rome for the Amazon Synod. It will be held at the Vatican between October 6th and 27th. Pope Francis summoned the Synod 2 years ago to highlight these themes.
Scopo principale di questa convocazione è individuare nuove strade per l'evangelizzazione di quella porzione del popolo di Dio, specialmente degli indigeni, spesso dimenticati e senza la prospettiva di un avvenire sereno anche a causa della crisi della foresta amazzonica, polmone di capitale importanza per il nostro pianeta.
The Amazon extends over 3 million square miles and 9 countries. It supplies 20% of the planet's fresh water to the Atlantic and houses 10 to 15% of terrestrial biodiversity. It is the second most vulnerable area on the planet, after the Arctic. Today, deforestation is between 15 and 20%. If there is deforestation of more than 40%, or if the 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit heating threshold is exceeded, the Amazon will not recover. The Pope believes this problem will have repercussions throughout the world.
Ogni comportamento,
every behavior, positive or negative, that is adopted with respect to the environment has inevitable consequences, also in the socio-cultural and spiritual aspect of the peoples and the individual persons. Around 35 million people live in the Amazon basin. Of these, 2.8 million are indigenous. They belong to 390 villages and speak 240 different languages. There are 137 indigenous communities living in voluntary isolation. The natives have been there for centuries and consider their land sacred, since their ancestors are buried there. However, they have no legal protection and are considered second-class citizens. Their territories are handed over to multinational companies, which exploit them with impunity and force them to work often in very unfavorable conditions. The Pope wants to combat the globalization of indifference and give a voice to those without one. His aim is to make the Amazon known, so nobody is indifferent to the suffering of its inhabitants. The Amazon is one of the most culturally and geographically remote areas. For Christianity to grow in these areas, missionaries must live in a unique natural environment and amongst very diverse cultural categories. The Synod hopes to instill a way to appreciate these traditions and cultures and transmit the faith without imposing other cultural schemes. The working document makes some original proposals. It asks for leadership and rulemakers for Christian communities to be rotary, not only in the hands of bishops and priests. In this way, religious, lay people, men or women, could guide the communities. Many communities are run by one or several women. They are there and they want this recognized. They want the work they do to be institutionalized a little, so that it has more authority. The Synod will look for ways to facilitate access to the sacraments. There is a lack of human resources, especially of ordained ministers, so between 70 and 80% of the communities inside the Brazilian Amazon don't really have a sacramental life, apart from baptism and sometimes marriage. The working document, which is not magisterial, asks bishops to recover the spirit of the first Christian communities. They responded to their needs by creating the appropriate ministries. It proposes studying the possibility of priestly ordination for elders, preferably indigenous, respected and accepted by the community, even if they have an established and stable family, in order to ensure the sacraments that they accompany and support the Christian life. Identify what official ministry can be conferred on women, taking into account the central role which women play today in the Amazonian Church. They could help in the education of new Christians and priests, and be consulted and participate in decision-making processes. At the same time, the Synod will analyze other areas with characteristics similar to the Amazon, such as the Congo River Basin and remote areas of India, in which evangelization succeeds despite similar difficulties. At the end of the meetings, the organizers will prepare a document with proposals. On October 26th, they will vote one by one and hand them over to the Pope, who will decide whether to apply them or not.